Let us be real, grocery prices lately have been absolutely insane. You walk into the standard supermarket meat department these days, and it feels like you need to take out a small loan just to buy enough ingredients for a weekend barbecue. Naturally, we all turn to warehouse clubs like Costco because the premise is simple. Buying in bulk should save us money. And it absolutely can. But if you've ever wandered through that massive refrigerated meat section at Costco, you know it can be incredibly overwhelming. There are huge primal cuts of beef you don't recognize, packages of chicken that look big enough to feed an army, and prices that, while good per pound, result in a sticker shock of 80 or $100 at the register for one item. The truth is, the Costco meat department is a bit of a minefield. I know I've made expensive mistakes there before. Nothing hurts worse than dropping $50 on a giant pack of meat that turns out to be tough, flavorless, or just way too much work to prepare before it goes bad. But when you know what you're looking for, it is arguably the best place in the country to stock your freezer. Today, we are cutting through the noise. I'm sharing the 6 specific meats that are absolutely worth the membership fee, the ones where the quality-to-price ratio is unbeatable, and frankly, the ones I think you should walk right past because they just aren't worth your time or money. If you appreciate saving money and avoiding disappointing dinners, go ahead and hit that like button for me. It really helps this video get seen by more people trying to navigate inflation. Now, grab one of those massive carts and let us head straight to the back of the store. Before we dive into specific items, we need to establish a quick ground rule for shopping Costco meat. The biggest value here comes when you are willing to put in a little bit of work. If you buy everything pre-sliced, pre-marinated, or pre-packaged in convenient little portions, you are losing a lot of that bulk buy advantage because you're paying for their labor. The real magic happens when you buy the larger cuts, bring them home, and spend 20 minutes with a sharp knife and a vacuum sealer. That's how you turn a $100 grocery trip into a month's worth of incredible meals. First, we have to start with the undisputed champion of Costco, the item that literally defines their business model, the famous rotisserie chicken. It feels almost too obvious to list, but we cannot talk about the best meat buys without paying homage to this bird. It is essentially a mathematical anomaly in the grocery world. As of right now, it is still priced at $4.99. If you go to a standard grocery store today, a raw, uncooked whole chicken of similar size, usually around 3 pounds, will almost certainly cost you more than $5. You are buying a cooked product for less than the price of the raw ingredients elsewhere. Costco is famously losing money on nearly every single one of these they sell. It's a loss leader, designed specifically to get you in the door, smelling that delicious roasted chicken scent, and walking past the 70-inch TVs and jewelry counters on your way to grab one. The value is untouchable. It's fantastic for a quick, no-furt dinner on a busy Tuesday night, sure. But the real power move is buying 2, shredding that meat, and using it for meal prep tacos, chicken salads, soups, or casseroles throughout the week. And then you take those carcasses and simmer them with some veggie scraps to make gallons of nearly free, nutrient-dense bone broth. You are getting multiple meals out of a $5 bill. If you leave Costco without one, you're leaving free money on the table. But man cannot live on cheap chicken alone. Sometimes you want something special, something that feels high-end without the high-end restaurant markup, and that brings us to the beef section. Second on the must-buy list is USDA prime beef, specifically the large subprimal cuts. If you love a good steak, this is the single best reason to have a Costco membership, period. Let us briefly clarify what prime actually means, because it's important. The USDA grades beef primarily on marbling, that beautiful white intramuscular fat that renders down during cooking and makes a steak tender, juicy, and flavorful. Only about the top 2% to 3% of all beef produced in the United States qualifies for the prime grade. It's the best of the best. Most supermarkets carry select grade, which is pretty lean and can be tough if you aren't careful, or choice grade, which is great for everyday eating. To find true USDA prime at a regular grocery store, you usually have to go to a specialty high-end butcher, and you will pay an astronomical markup for the privilege. But Costco is one of the largest buyers of prime beef in the world, and because of that massive volume, their prices are insane. You can often find prime grade ribeyes or New York strips at Costco for roughly the same price per pound as choice grade at your local supermarket. You are essentially getting a significant upgrade in quality for free. However, here is the key strategy one mentioned earlier. Don't just grab the packs of 3 or 4 pre-cut steaks in the white foam trays. They are excellent, don't get me wrong, but you are paying a premium for the butchery. The real gold mine is located in the refrigerated cases nearby where they keep the large, vacuum-sealed subprimal cuts. I'm talking about a whole 12 to 15-pound whole ribeye roast or a whole strip loin still in a heavy plastic cryovac bag. Yes, the sticker price on that package is going to give you mild heart palpitations. Seeing $180 on a single piece of meat is intimidating. But you have to change your mindset. Take that roast home, get out your biggest cutting board, and slice it yourself into 12 to 16 thick, beautiful steaks. Vacuum seal them in pairs and freeze them. When you do the math afterwards, you'll realize you just stocked your freezer with true steakhouse quality meat for literally half the price of taking your family out to eat once. It takes 30 minutes of work on a Sunday afternoon and saves you hundreds of dollars over the next few months. It is the ultimate Costco hack. Moving on from the luxury of prime beef, we need to talk about the absolute workhorse of the Costco meat department, the pork section. If you are looking to maximize your protein to dollar ratio, this is where you win the game. Third on our list is the pork tenderloin. Now, be careful not to confuse this with a pork loin. While they sound similar, they are very different cuts. The tenderloin is that long, narrow, lean muscle that is incredibly tender, hence the name. At Costco, these are almost always sold in a 2-pack, but here's the kicker. Each of those packs actually contains 2 individual tenderloins. So, you're walking out with 4 full tenderloins for a price that usually works out to under $4 a pound. In a standard grocery store, you'll often see these for $7 or $8 a pound, often sold individually. These are the ultimate weeknight win. You can roast them whole, slice them into medallions for a quick pan sear, or even butterfly them. Because they are so lean, they cook incredibly fast. I usually keep a few of these in the freezer because they thaw quickly and can be dressed up with just about any flavor profile, from balsamic glaze to a spicy dry rub. Fourth, we have to talk about an item that feels like a total insider secret because most people walk right past it: the lamb loin chops. If you've ever ordered lamb at a nice restaurant, you know they usually charge you an arm and a leg for 2 or 3 little chops. Lamb is notoriously expensive in the US because so much of it is imported. But Costco sources a massive amount of high-quality lamb from Australia and New Zealand, and they pass those savings directly to us. You can often find these lamb loin chops, which look like miniature T-bone steaks, for a fraction of what you'd pay at a boutique butcher or even a high-end grocery chain. They are incredibly tender, have a mild but distinct flavor, and because they are smaller, they cook in about 4 minutes per side. It's one of those fancy meals that you can pull off on a random Wednesday for less than the cost of a couple of fast food combo meals. Before we move into the seafood and the avoid list, I want to take a quick second to say thank you for watching. If you're finding these tips useful for your next shopping trip, please consider subscribing to the channel. We're constantly digging into the best ways to shop smart and eat well, and having you as part of the community means the world to us. Now, let's talk about something that might surprise you. Fifth on the list of worth it buys is the wild-caught sockeye salmon. I know, fresh fish at a warehouse club can feel like a gamble, but Costco's seafood sourcing is actually world-class. If you look at the price of wild-caught salmon at a place like Whole Foods or a local fish market, it's often $25 to $30 a pound. At Costco, you can frequently find it for significantly less, sometimes even under $15 a pound depending on the season. The quality is phenomenal, bright orange, firm texture, and loaded with those healthy omega-3s. But here is the pro tip for the salmon. Check the frozen section too. Costco sells bags of individual, vacuum-sealed wild sockeye fillets that are flash frozen at sea. Most of the fresh fish you see in the display case at any grocery store was actually frozen and thawed anyway. By buying the frozen bags, you're getting the exact same quality, but with the convenience of only pulling out one piece at a time whenever you need it. It's a massive win for anyone trying to eat healthier without destroying their budget. Sixth, and finally for the worth it items, we have the Kirkland Signature Bacon. Specifically, the 4-pack of the regular sliced bacon. This is widely considered by many food critics to be one of the highest quality bacons on the market, often beating out premium name brands in blind taste tests. It has the perfect balance of meat to fat, and because it's a Kirkland product, the price is consistently lower than the big brands you'll find elsewhere. Bacon is one of those items that has seen some of the wildest price swings lately, but the bulk pack at Costco remains one of the last true bastions of affordability for breakfast lovers. However, just because it's in the Costco meat department doesn't mean it's a good deal. In fact, there are a few items that I think you should strictly avoid, and the first one is actually a major health and safety point that most shoppers never notice. We need to talk about blade tenderized beef. This is arguably the biggest gotcha in the entire store. If you look closely at the labels on those beautiful, pre-cut steaks like the ribeyes or New York strips in the trays, you will often see a small line of text that says blade tenderized. This means the meat was run through a machine with hundreds of tiny needles to break up the connective tissue and make it softer. While that sounds like a good thing for your teeth, it's a potential problem for your gut. When a piece of beef is solid, any bacteria, like E. coli, stays on the surface. When you sear that steak, the heat kills the bacteria instantly, which is why it's safe to eat a steak medium rare. But when you blot tenderize it, those needles can push any surface bacteria deep into the center of the meat. Because of this, the USDA actually recommends that blotted tenderized beef be cooked to an internal temperature of 160 degrees, which is well done. If you like your steaks rare or medium rare, buying blotted tenderized meat is a legitimate risk. This is another reason why I always suggest buying the whole subprimal roasts we talked about earlier. Those are not tenderized, so you can cut them into steaks yourself and cook them exactly how you like them without the safety worry. But the avoid list doesn't stop at safety, sometimes it's just about the math. Building on the safety concerns of blade tenderizing, there are a few other items in the meat department that might look like a bargain but are actually traps when you look at the fine print. One of the biggest ones is the pre-marinated meat section. You've seen them. The vacuum-sealed pork loins in lemon garlic, or the carne asada pre-sliced beef. While they are incredibly convenient for a busy weeknight, you are essentially paying meat prices for water, salt, and cheap spices. These marinades are often incredibly high in sodium and preservatives, and they can sometimes be used to mask meat that is very close to its sell-by date. Plus, the price per pound is almost always $2 to $3 higher than the unmarinated version. You're much better off buying the plain meat and tossing it in a bowl with some olive oil and spices yourself. It takes 5 minutes and tastes exponentially better. Next on the skip list might be controversial, but we have to talk about the standard ground beef in the white trays. Now, don't get me wrong, the quality is fine. However, the price isn't always the steal people think it is. Because Costco sells these in massive 5 or 6 pound packs, the total price looks high, but the price per pound often hovers around the same price as the weekly loss leader specials at your local supermarket. If you keep an eye on your local circulars, you can frequently find 80/20 ground beef for $3.49 or $3.99 a pound, which often beats Costco's everyday price. The real ground beef winner at Costco isn't in the meat case at all, it's in the freezer. Look for the organic, grass-fed ground beef that comes in 3 separate 1-pound bricks. It is significantly higher quality, it's easier to store, and when it goes on sale, which it does frequently, it is the best value for organic beef in the country. If you're just buying the standard chub or the big tray of conventional ground beef, you aren't necessarily saving much, and you're forced to deal with a massive amount of meat at once. Speaking of things that aren't worth the hassle, let us talk about the pre-formed burger patties. Much like the marinated meats, you are paying a significant convenience tax for someone else to shape that meat into a circle. The texture of these pre-formed patties is often much denser and tougher than a patty you gently form yourself at home. If you're hosting a massive graduation party for 50 people, sure, buy the pre-formed ones to save your sanity. But for a family cookout, you're paying more for a lower quality eating experience. Buy the bulk ground beef instead and spend 10 minutes making your taste buds will thank you. Another item I personally skip is the choice grade beef tenderloin or filet mignon. This is a bit of a value trap. Filet mignon is already the most expensive cut of the cow because it is the most tender, but it's also the leanest, meaning it has the least amount of flavor. When you buy choice grade tenderloin, you're paying a premium price for a cut that lacks the marbling of the prime grade, but still carries a hefty price tag. If you're going to splurge on a filet, I truly believe you should go all the way and get the prime grade at Costco. If the prime is too expensive, skip the choice filet and go for the prime ribeye instead. You'll get more flavor and a better overall experience for less money. Lastly, I want to mention the organic whole chickens. Now, I love organic poultry as much as the next person, but at Costco, these are usually sold in 2-packs, and the price per pound is significantly higher than the conventional ones. When you compare the price of these raw organic birds to that $4.99 rotisserie chicken we talked about earlier, the math just doesn't work out for most families. Unless you have a very strict dietary requirement for organic-only meat, the value proposition here is one of the weakest in the entire store. You can buy 3 or 4 cooked rotisserie chickens for the price of 1 2-pack of raw organic birds. Navigating Costco is all about balancing that bulk buy mentality with actual culinary logic. The goal isn't just to fill the freezer, it's to fill the freezer with things that actually make your life easier and your meals better. By focusing on the prime subprimals, the pork tenderloins, the wild-caught seafood, and that legendary rotisserie chicken, you are maximizing every cent of that membership fee. Avoid the blah tenderized steaks and the pre-marinated convenience traps, and you'll find that your grocery budget goes a lot further than you ever thought possible. I want to hear from you guys now. What is the one meat item at Costco you absolutely swear by? Is there something I missed that's a hidden gem in your local warehouse? Drop a comment below and let us get a conversation going. I always learn so much from your tips. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It helps me keep creating these deep dives into how to shop smarter. Would you like me to put together a similar guide for the Costco frozen section, or maybe a breakdown of their best hidden gem pantry staples? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.